I doubt very much that anybody wants to diminish their prospects of wealth. Some may want to maintain their wealth, most will want to increase it. When you act towards creating your own wealth creation, you are in fact making your own gold, in much the same way as making your own luck. So today we will go over some defining principles towards your wealth creation. A margin of safety is generally seen as an investment term, having its main origin in The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Though it does not need to be a pure investment consideration. Instead, we can merely consider margin of safety as a buffer of protection for you to continue. For example, when I choose car insurance, I always get comprehensive cover, legal costs, courtesy car, pretty much the full whack. Although I may bulk at the extra cost for something I probably won't need. That being said, it's something I hope I won't need, which is why I get the extra options to cover me should everything hit the fan, and so that I can protect the assets and have the cover, securing my capital for the future. When it comes to my emergency funds, I have access to a decent amount of cash and access to credit should the need arise. This gives me a strong psychological comfort, but also means that I will survive going forward, the key consideration when mitigating any risk. As for the particular amount, I would say it depends on your circumstance, potential costs, and what you can expect, so act within reason. By having a group of multiple income streams, you add more legs to the chair you're sitting upon. In my example, I have cash that is earning a good return, investments that produce returns via dividends, and not just on the sale of them, regular rental income that covers outgoings for the property. On top of that, I have my regular job income. All of this combines to help mitigate the risk of one of the elements falling through. Now to revert back to the benchmark term. In analysis of assets, a margin of safety is key to coming to a fundamental decision, while having multiple margins of safety allows you to have increased confidence in your actions and long-term ambitions. It may not always work out fully, but the due diligence is a key part of any planning. A margin of safety can be even baked into something simple at judging times, adding a few minutes here or there to make sure you can absorb the potential disruption should your plans not go accordingly. Assets are a tried and tested way of building wealth. Really, the key definition of an asset is something that holds or produces value, ideally being both. Assets can take a variety of forms, so let's go through some examples. Held stocks that also provide regular dividends are a great asset example. They are holding and producing additional value for you as the owner. This form of asset was previously very restrictive, but access is becoming far easier for the common individual, although I would recommend developing the psychological tools to handle this asset effectively. Property is a common tried and tested method, but in terms of using it as an asset as opposed to a home. For example, rental property meets these requirements, being a landlord, whereas living in the house and then selling it for more than you bought it for generally works as a zero-sum transaction, as more often than not you'll then just buy another property with more debt attached and no value actually being produced. With regards to the property I own, I rent as a private landlord, with the debt fully covered by the rental yield every month, and extra for myself. Education is also an asset. Having certain qualifications or titles can greatly benefit yourself and will be a requirement to further your personal ambitions. The greatest asset you can own and develop is yourself. Though bear in mind that ideally the education should be aimed towards a subject you wish to move into, say finance for example. If not, the education will have to be held in such a high regard as to have some level of universal transference. For example, rocket scientists and doctors are both pretty well regarded no matter what circles they find themselves in. Social connections and your ability to develop relationships with people are also key and often an overlooked aspect. The better you are at it, the potential to reduce resistance and open new avenues increases, and likewise in the reverse. If you piss everybody off and consistently, your life will be difficult. Although people who would describe themselves as an asset and having great interpersonal skills are often unbearable, there is a measure of truth to it. Businesses, which form the underlying basis for good stock investment, are the overarching method in which most people find success on wealth creation. Establishing or creating a system produces inherent value, and this can be further compounded if it is also attached to held property or rights that are specific to the business for ownership. Generally, behind most wealthy people is a wealthy company. Now, assets are all good, but they are not made equal. Some assets do depreciate, like fashion and cars. These should not be considered unless you are looking at very niche markets for, say, classic cars. Purchases that have a depreciating nature will only eat away at your wealth generation. Sometimes they are necessary and provide large tangible benefit. For example, a car provides travel and saves time over public transport in the UK, but I would not put in an excessive amount of money to purchase. In addition, with my car, I am trying to keep the depreciation within mind and have a time plan to sell it before it really loses most of the residual value, though the sale would in no way match the purchase price. Money, like all things in life, has a differing aspect depending on what your view is of it and how you need it. Water to the starving man is survival, while to the hydrated, the context shifts. Maybe it's just a pleasant drink, to be used for cleaning or helping grow crops. Most things in life present differently, based on your context and mental models. Money is no different, and in many cases, almost acts like water in a similar way. Undeniably, money should be used as a tool to access, purchase, and maintain yourself. In an ideal world, we would be entirely emotionless and purely efficient when it came to handling our financial matters. But our species is far from such a standard. The mental aspect of money really is a crucial component. To lay it out in plain English for you, you have been given a car, but most people don't know how to drive it. Only having information provided by others of how and what they should do with no relevant experience. How well do you think this is going to play out? Will you be able to drive far and cruise around easily? The situation is repeated by generations consistently when it comes to preparing their children for being fiscally responsible and understanding how to use it to their advantage. This happens because those previous generations rarely had the answers themselves. Money is not a representation of you. I have high earning connections and low earning connections, and it bears no consequence on who they are as people. And when it does, it just corrupts. Money at its greatest use can be used to buy back your time. When you get money without having to expend direct time or work to get it, that is when your actions are at their most powerful. We all want to become wealthy, but few know that the true birthplace of wealth is in the mind. Understanding the how and what and being prepared for your own imperfect feelings is a key to sustained growth, of which the following three aspects play a strong role. Margins of safety allow you to avoid harmful loss that will derail you from your path. Purchasing assets will be the foundation to your growth, being wary of those assets that depreciate. And thinking of money as a pure resource is a key mental outlook to understanding its true use in separating your money from your time.